All right, so we're going to look at a game from November of 2024, last season, Drake versus Vanderbilt in Charleston, South Carolina. And I was at this game, and it was, I've seen a lot of college basketball games live over the last few seasons, and I don't think I'll ever forget this game and how I felt exiting the gym. It was the last game of the of a 4 game slate for that Sunday. 3 games were before it, so this one tipped. I don't remember exactly what time, either 7 or 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern time. And after watching this game live, I exited the gym with literal goosebumps for what I saw. And it's just really really good tape to look at, especially for Drake specifically. I had goosebumps for how they played. There's a few times over the last few years where I've been at a game and it's had a real like emotional impact on me in terms of just seeing a team do something. So just off the top of my head, last year's St. John's team, the 24-25 St. John's team, how hard they played. That left a real impact on me live when I was watching them. Their effort. A couple of games last year specifically. I think their game at Seton Hall. If there's tape of that game, go watch that. The 24-25 team, St. John's, how hard they played, how aggressive they played, how connected they played defensively, how much effort they gave was so special. Um, you know, to talk about their loss in the NCAA tournament versus Arkansas is a whole nother discussion that this is not about. There's so many layers and complexities, um, relative complexities to that equation. But that St. John's team last year, the UConn team, I think it was 3 years ago with Jordan Hawkins and Jackson and the transfer from San Diego, who's a sharpshooter, and Adama Sanogo and Donovan Clingan when he was a freshman. That team, how sharp they played, had a real impact on me when you watch them live. That was something special. And I'm sure there's others that I just haven't been privy to or haven't seen. But St. John's last year, how hard they played, it's off the top of my head. The UConn a couple of years ago, how sharp they played. And then this Drake team, how crisp they played and how their spacing and the way they use their dribbles was really really special. So they were 5-0 coming into this game. Vanderbilt was 6-0. This was Coach McCollum's first team at the Division I level. They brought a bunch of Division II transfers with them from Northwest Missouri State. I'm sure people who are watching this probably know that. Vanderbilt was having a really good season under their first year head coach as well. Um, and we're going to take a look. So this game, let's get to the starting lineups. Are they going to show the starting lineups? I guess we'll go from the tip here. Sorry, I'm going all over the place. Just a lot of good game tape to learn from, for me at least. To be honest with you, this is, I've watched this a couple times since, um, and let's take a look. All right, so Drake's starting five. You have Isaiah Jackson, not the best perimeter shooter, but a smart player. I believe he was a D2 transfer. Bennett Sturts, of course, he's now doing his thing in the Big Ten, and he was a D2 transfer this season, as one season at Drake. Mitch Muscari, also a D2 transfer from Northwest Missouri State, a sharpshooter, really did a great job on this Drake team. Cam Manyow, transfer from Wyoming last year to Drake. And Daniel Abreu, also a D2 transfer. So you got 4 D2 guys starting. I'm not going to call them D2 guys. I'm just saying that because that's what it is, But clearly they could play at many, higher levels than that, starting for this Drake team. Vanderbilt, Jason Edwards doing his thing now at Providence. Grant Huffman, AJ Hogard was the Michigan State transfer. He was playing well. Tyler Nickel and Devin McLaughlin starting. I think I'm going to just start going into Drake possessions because that's what really got me here. Um, so I think that's where we're going to go from here. So over here, look at their spacing. They just let Maniau in a one-on-one situation. It's just about knowing their players, knowing their personnel. Let's get into the hoop. Very few wasted dribbles on this team. So we're going to go to the next Drake possession here. Oh, okay. I like this play a lot. So over here, you're going to have Bennett Sturts at the bottom of the screen. And there's going to be like a Iverson cut here, like an Iverson screen, like a devil screen here, getting set up. So you can go this way like he's about to do, or they run it later in the game, him going under. And it's really interesting the opportunities that this creates. So if you freeze it right here, the pass right there, you can see right there, Sturts has a lane to the basket if he so chooses. And then the action is developing up here. This is a really nice play. So he has a lane right there if he just turns around. He chooses not to. You got Abreu coming here to set the screen. Over here, you got Jackson and Mascari just creating some movement, switching places. Now over here to get into an empty side pick and roll with Jackson and Maniau. Beautiful spacing, nice pass, finishes. So the way that play develops, let's just watch this again. So crisp. So much movement, nobody's staying stagnant, creating space. And if you look here again, the pick and roll, right there, one step, wide screen. You know, these are the details that really do make a difference. Over here, if Jackson was a better shooter, he could just get into this area right here and rise up for a jump shot. But he chooses, you know, there's a lot of space there. Look at that. Nice pocket pass, and he finishes. Really good footwork by Maniau also there. And I'm sure a lot of this comes from the Drake guys playing with each other and developing that continuity and playing with feel. And that program being together for so long, you know, it has compounding effects. So that was also really nice to see last year when you're watching this team. You can tell that you got some of Coach McCollum's accolades there on this side of the screen. So again, they're basically running the same Iverson cut here, only a couple minutes later. Let's see if there's any different variation to it. So a little bit of a different variation. Ends up in a turnover. Ends up in another turnover, some shaky possessions there. What happens here? Ends up in another turnover, not so great. So Vandy playing good D, coming out aggressive. So you got Jackson in the half court. So this was a version of the Iverson cut where he just goes under, right? So before he was coming around here, this time, boom, he just, and this is probably, he has the option to do it. And then right there, where we saw that earlier, now he takes advantage of that. It's a really just taking advantage of the same things over and over again. He misses the layup, but the idea is there and the execution is there as well. Okay. So you got Sturts just. I think that's Tyler Tanner he's going against. Just a bigger body. I mean, we got to analyze this one. What is this? So you got Manyao coming up from the bottom here, sets his screen here, just creating movement. Rescreens, guy rejects the screen over here. You got the pin down there from Mascari. Nothing happens. He pushes it there, and this is just feel for the game. Like pitch, screen the guy. You got a lane there. You got a lane there. Look at that. Now you got an advantage right there. You got a 2-on-1 with this guy. He can't finish, but he has the guy right there. It's beautiful, truly. To carve out space when you're not the strongest guy like Manyao is doing, it's pretty interesting. Great angle on the screen. He takes such great. He just has great angles on his screens. Opens up from kind of the reverse side on the screen. This guy's in drop coverage because you can't leave Sturts alone. Nice pocket pass. And then he doesn't just go up for a shot. His balance, his footwork, his ball handling, his touch, everything is on display here. This is against a high quality opponent, right? This is how Drake kind of played the whole year. They won a bunch of games. They lost very few games. I don't know their actual record off the top of my head, but they won the Missouri Valley tournament. They beat um, the University of Missouri or Missouri University in the first round, an SEC team, the first round of NCAA tournament, and they played Texas Tech pretty hard in the second round of the tournament. And this Vandy team, from what I remember, they lost at the last second against St. Mary's in the NCAA tournament. So these are two tournament teams, two high-level teams. One supposedly a mid-major who ends up winning this game. So, for that context, like this style that Drake was playing, Mascari, that's the shots he was kind of making. This style that Drake was playing, they were gonna do their thing no matter what. They weren't coming to Division One with these kids and saying, "All right, we're gonna change everything." No, this is what they did at the Division Two level. This is how they play. They take their time. They're very methodical. They try to find the best shot. They have good spacing. They pass the ball. They make mistakes, but they're gonna be themselves. And it got them really far last year. Just taking it possession by possession. You can see it's not that much transition stuff. Just beautiful spacing and beautiful pick and roll. Sets the screen perfectly. Guys in drop coverage. Beautiful pocket pass by Sturts again. So we got the Iverson situation here a little bit on the ball. Trying to find Mascari for a three, and he knocks it down. Just all moving without the ball, all instincts after playing years of basketball at a high level. Get into the teeth of the defense. Turnover. Oh, this is a beautiful set. So check this out. Starts with Mascari setting a down screen for Manyao. Okay, kind of just brushes the guy, and then someone's gonna set the pin down for Mascari to come around here, and then while he does that, look at the angle Maniac takes. It's kind of like he's faking going this way, so Sturts starts to dribble this way, but Maniac's actually gonna set the pick on Sturts' left. So look how that happens. Now he does a little, stops his dribble, crossover. Now this guy's already in a disadvantaged position. They're already about to be 2-on-1. He tries to fight over the screen. Over here you have a little decoy. I don't think this is necessarily what they were looking for unless this is, But look at this. Look at this advantage that's been created. Boom. Sturts now 2-on-1. Gets into the lane. Beautiful floater. I mean, let's look at that action one more time. Maniac comes up. Sets just one simple misdirection. Look what that does. Oh, this was beautiful also. So let's check this out. So over here you have, they're trying to get Sturts the ball to start the action. It's clear that they're trying to do that, and they can't because he's being guarded well. So they say, all right, you give Sturts the ball. Or sorry, they take their time. They just screen here, and then look at this action. Mascari and Manyow. This whole action is for him to get an initial hit on Sturts' man. They're creating a little bit of, tiring out the defense there, making them scramble, and then Mascari's going to hit him on the back. This is like the Spain screen, I think it's called, whatever you call it nowadays. Look at that. This is his defender that was guarding Sturts. He just gets into the lane, all this. And this was one of Sturts' more quieter games, if you look at the box score, but there was no doubt that his cerebral ability and his patience and his overall game were something to be reckoned with for sure. Good defense there by Vanderbilt. You just don't see in a 40-minute college basketball game teams playing with this type of, and it's not like they're flawless. Clearly, they have tons of turnovers. They're not making the right reads all the time, but they're not there's just something about the way that this team played. It was so connected. Look at that. So patient. How did that even develop? And we're late in the shot clock. There's no, most teams, 12 seconds left in the shot clock. That's when they go into their one-on-one, let me try to do something mode. It doesn't end up in a decent shot. It hasn't in this game all the time either. Drake has turned it over. As you've seen, Vanderbilt played really good defense. It's a close game. But the fact that they're so patient with 11 on the shot clock, I really think speaks a lot to their team and their identity and what goes on in that program and that building that nobody was able to really witness from the outside. But just gets behind it. And their conditioning as well, of course. You have to be well conditioned to be able to play with such, good instincts late into possessions consistently the way they do. Sturts gets ahead of the defense. Good transition bucket. Oh, this is just straight effort. Look at this. Look at this gentleman. I forget his name, so pardon me over here. This guy right here. He was I think he was one of the only, or maybe the only player that the Drake staff kind of inherited from the previous program. He stayed, with this new coaching staff for this year, for his final year in basketball. So look, he's all the way here, okay? Boxes out his guy. Sturts gets it. Look where he is. Look at this. This is a track meet sprint. This is just running and playing harder. Boom. He's already ahead of these three guys, and look, he just keeps going. Keeps going. Boom. Sometimes that's all you need to separate within a game. Now they're up 10. Oh, this is such a nice play. Look at this. So you got Sturts handling the ball. He's going to give it to this guy right here. He gets pushed off his spot. That's good defense. He doesn't want to catch it that high. But he's going to come and set a decoy pin down for Miscari. So you think Miscari, this action is for Miscari, but it's really not. And you can see Miscari's going to come and set a flare screen for Sturts. He's going to pitch it to him. Miscari kind of brushes his shoulder on Sturts' defender. He comes around, and look at this. Ready has a hole. Then they just give it back to Miscari for the jump shot. What a beautiful set. Fakes that way. Comes here, sets a nice. Maybe we'll stop it here. I don't know. Let me see if there's any other plays that caught my attention. Yeah, I think that's it for now. And Drake hangs on to win this game at the end of it.